Today, we're going to talk about a massive breakthrough that totally rewrote the rules for AI image generation. Seriously. This is the story of how making incredible AI art went from taking forever to happening at, well, pretty much the speed of thought. Let's jump in. Okay, just take a second and look at this picture. I mean, really look at it. The insane detail on the butterfly's wings, the way the background is all soft and blurry, and AI made all of this. For the longest time, getting a result this good was a slow, painfully slow process. We're talking minutes, maybe longer. But what if you didn't have to wait? What if you could dream up an image just like this, with all that quality, and have it in front of you in less than 5 seconds? That's not science fiction. That's the revolution we're digging into. A leap that brings AI creation so much closer to the actual speed of our imagination. So, to really get why this speed up is such a game changer, we first have to understand the tech that makes it all possible. And it all starts with this kind of magical process called diffusion. The models that do this are called diffusion probabilistic models, or DPMs for short. And you can think of them as artists that turn total chaos into beautiful order. They literally start with a screen full of random static, just noise, like an old TV. And then, bit by bit, they clean it up, refining it over and over until a clear, detailed picture just emerges. It's kind of like a sculptor finding a statue inside a block of marble. But here's the catch. As amazing as this whole process is, it had one giant problem. It was slow. Incredibly, frustratingly slow. And that slowness was holding back the entire field of creative AI. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The very researchers who came up with this breakthrough said it themselves in their paper. This inefficiency wasn't just some minor inconvenience. They called it a critical bottleneck. It was the one thing stopping these incredible tools from being used in real time, making them super expensive to run and out of reach for most people. So just how slow was it? Well, the first models needed about 1,000 separate steps to make one image. 1,000! Think about that. The AI had to look at the image, make one tiny little change, and then do that 999 more times. It worked, sure, but you weren't exactly going to be using it for a quick sketch. Now, obviously, a lot of brilliant people were working on this problem. And there were some really big steps forward. Especially one method you might have heard of called DDIM. It was a huge deal at the time. And DDIM really did make a huge difference. It took that 1,000-step process and slashed it all the way down to about 50 steps. A 20 times improvement? That's nothing to sneeze at. But even at 50 steps, it still wasn't quite the speed of thought. It was better, for sure, but it wasn't fast enough for that real-time, interactive, creative flow that artists and designers were dreaming about. The search had to continue. And this is where our hero enters the picture. A new approach called DPM Solver. And the people behind it didn't just try to make the old way faster. No, they found a completely different, way smarter way to solve the problem. Okay, so the key to the whole thing is in the kind of math these models are doing. It's called a semi-linear equation. Now, don't worry. All you need to know is that this math problem has 2 parts. There's a predictable, easy part, and a really complex, hard part. And that hard part is what the AI has to work on. And here it is, the big aha moment. All the old methods, even the faster ones like DDIM, were using the same slow, step-by-step process for both parts of the problem. The DPM solver insight was to basically say, wait a minute, why are we wasting all this energy approximating the easy part? We know the perfect answer to that. Let's just solve it instantly and save all our brain power for the really tough stuff. This analogy just nails it. Think about captaining a ship. The old way was like making a tiny little turn of the wheel every single second for the whole trip, even when you're in the middle of a huge, empty ocean. What DPM Solver does is it uses a perfect math formula to cross that entire open ocean in one giant, flawless leap. Then it saves up all its energy to carefully navigate the tricky, twisting channel when it gets close to the harbor. It's just smarter. So by solving that open ocean part of the math perfectly, DPM Solver just gets rid of tons of tiny errors that used to add up over all those little steps. And what that means is you get a better, more accurate result, and you get it way, way faster. Okay, so the theory sounds amazing, right? But what does it actually look like when you put it to the test? Well, the results, they speak for themselves. It's pretty incredible. So here you go, a head-to-head comparison. On the left, you've got the old method, DDIM, trying to make a picture in just 10 steps. And yikes, it's a blurry mess, you can't really tell what it is. But on the right, with the exact same 10 steps, DPM Solver gives you this gorgeous, high-quality image. The difference is just night and day. And if that wasn't crazy enough, check this out. This is the real knockout punch. On the left, we let DDIM run for 100 steps. Okay, it finally made a pretty good image. But on the right, that's DPM Solver getting a result that's just as good, maybe even better, in only 10 steps. That's 10 times less work for the same quality. Just incredible. And when they tested it across the board, the results held up. DPM Solver was anywhere from 4 to 16 times faster than the best methods that came before it. And maybe the most important part? You don't need to retrain your models. This is a pure software fix you can just drop into what already exists. So, a speed boost this big isn't just a small step forward. It completely changes what's possible. So what happens now? What does the world look like when AI can create things almost instantly? So, why should this matter to you? Well, it boils down to a few huge things. First, it costs way less to run these things now, which is great for everyone. That leads to tools that feel more interactive and alive. You can tweak something and see the change right away. And because it's cheaper and easier, it opens up AI art to so many more people. And finally, it makes real-time stuff possible that we could only dream of before, in things like video games or live design tools. So yeah, this is so much bigger than just making computers run faster. This is about fundamentally changing who gets to be a creator and what that creative process even looks like. It's about closing the gap between having an idea and holding it in your hands. And that leaves us with this one amazing question to think about. For so long, our tools have always been a little bit slower than our imaginations. But now that we have AI that can almost keep up with us, what new things are we about to discover? What creative frontiers are we going to explore that we can't even imagine yet?